Okay, I have moved to double pointed needles. I have squashed the sock down in there just so you can see. Look at, you're on page 16, looking at panel 9 at the top picture of the double pointed needles. What you've got here is there is A, let me pull it up where you can see it better, 5 stitches for A, then 8. Over here we have B with 7 before B, and 5. On the bottom, 5 and 5. Okay, so it looks like your picture right there. Okay, let's see what happens next. The next thing you're going to do is to move the 5 stitches before A down to the sole needle. Because you're on double pointed, this needs no explanation. If you're going to move them, you just move them, don't you? 3, 4, 5. Do I even need to count? No, because I know I've moved the 5 before A, and there's A. A told me where we were. Okay. After that, you're going to move the 5. So now we're at the middle picture in panel 9. And over here where B is, we have got 5 stitches and then 7 stitches. We want to put the 5 that are after B onto your 5th double pointed. As you know, it doesn't hurt to turn around to get something. You can always turn back to where you should be. Okie-doke. Take off B, because otherwise it would just fall. And now we have got the bottom picture. We have 8, 7, 10, 5, and 5. And where's the yarn? It's right here in between these 2 needles. So you will begin knitting like this. And you will be knitting, these are your sole stitches here, 5 and the ones that have 5 and 5. And you will be going across there and doing something here, coming back and doing something there, and it's all in the book. Okay. Now let me just talk a little bit about the difference between 2 circs and double pointeds. If you are on 2 circs, you have got all of these on one needle, all of these, all that, and can just move back and forth very easily. Okay. And you would have all the instep on one needle. Okay, so it's just a different needle arrangement. Now I'm going to go back to 2 circulars. 1, 2, 3. Okay, here we are again on 2 circular needles. Look at that beautiful heel turn. I have my instep circular tucked down out of the way, so all we see is the one needle I'm working on with the heel stitches. Okay, row 1 and row 2 are companion rows. They're the base of heel companion rows. In other words, you repeat these companion rows, they stay together like friends, repeating a number of times. So you'll get used to them and they're very easy. Slip that first stitch, knit 8, okay. Notice that after 8 stitches we come to where there is this gap. That's where we move the 5 stitches over, the wing stitches. What we're going to do is slip, do an SSK, slip 2 stitches as if to knit, and SSK them together. In other words, we're decreasing away one of the wing stitches. Then you turn around, slip that first stitch, purl 8. Okay, I've purled 8, and now purl, notice here we're at the gap. There's my 5 wing stitches. There's a gap between them and the final one from the heel, the sole. I'm going to purl those 2 together, eating up the first one of the wing stitches, and turn around. Okay, I'm going to do that another 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we are now have repeated that another 3 times. We did it once and then 3 times more. That meant that we ate up 4 out of the 5 and wing stitches on each end. Notice I have 1 left here and 1 left here. You can see that gap, and clearly there's a gap there too. Okay, now here's how we close up that gap, because you don't want a gap. Not only are we about to close up the gap, but we're about to begin knitting in the round again. So here's how it works. You do exactly what you've done on the knit side. Slip 1, knit 8, and after knitting 8, do your SSK. Now we are down to, there's your gap, there's 8 plus the SSK, so we've got a total of let's see, there's the gap. And there's the slip one, excuse me, the gap, the slip stitch, 8 stitches, and the SSK. So we have 11 stitches there right now. And now look at this, time to wake up that sleeping needle. Wake up. The instep needle. It had a good rest, and it's back at work. There'll be no gap right there because we went from an SSK directly onward. We didn't have anything happening that would make a gap. Okay, keep going. We go all the way across the instep stitches. There are 15 of them on this little sock that you're making. By the way, once you finish this sock and the next little learning sock, you'll be ready for the rest of the book because you will have learned all the very basic elements. Okay, we get to the end of the instep needle. One more stitch. Put that needle in udder position, hanging down like a goat udder. Pick up both ends of the other one and keep going around. Okay, look at that gap. Now, if you recall, on the other side we would have purled 2 together. On this side, we get the same effect by knitting 2 together. It's kind of easy to remember, purl 2 together or knit 2 together. Anyway, it's what we want to do right here. See? Continues that line beautifully. Okay, one little trick I'm going to give you right here. We're in between 2 needles. Some people get ladders in between needles. Here's how not to. This works for circular needles or double pointed. Take your first stitch, which was that one for me. Don't worry about it being so tight. Then begin to take the second stitch, and as you wrap the yarn and begin to finish that stitch, give it a good hard pull, and it will snug up that first stitch. Now the first stitch will hold. If you had done that before, on just that one stitch, there would be only this happening, like a camel with a single hump. There's nothing to hold it, but a 2-humped camel goes like this, 2 stitches, and now it will hold. If you treat your second stitch as the tightening stitch for the first one, you will never have ladders. Guess what? We're now ready to just knit around the foot. We now are down to the mid-foot stitch count, and we'll just go round and round. So we're ready to do the toe, and I'm not going to show you that because I think you won't have any trouble with it. But have a look. That beauty, you can see all we need now is the rest of the foot. Right, that out here. Beautiful. It's the foot. It's the shape of a foot. It is a Little Sky learning sock. Congratulations and have fun. The clock face. So I want you to do the